Hello, welcome to the Gun Shop with me, John, and today we're going to be having a look at the Webley Scott 2500 series side-by-side shotgun. So on the back of this particular gun, it has got a soft pad fitted. However, they weren't fitted this from the factory. This was just to give this particular gun a little bit of extra length because the 14 3/4 stock they came with wasn't quite up to the spec of the person who wanted it. The wood on the 2500s has changed massively between different models I've seen. I've seen some that are really nice, and I've seen stuff like this that isn't unpleasant, but it's a grade 2, grade 3. Out of the factory, the finish wasn't the best. However, now trying to find one, most people will have fed the oil finish on there and it'll be a little bit better than others. But that was the same for most of the Webleys built in this factory, the 900s all the way through to the 3000s, is the wood just needed that little bit of extra oil. This gun is hand checkered, and it's done a really fine job actually. I expect there's some aid given, and I could be wrong, but there's too many mistakes for it to be anything but hand checkered. I particularly like some of the lines running up through the head here, and I find it very pleasing to the eye. It is flat point a la Webley, so it is a proper traditional Webley feel, and that Prince of Wales grip is, I think, dimensioned absolutely superbly. With the ability to choke up if you need, but you can shoot it just nice. I say that the actual finesse that runs through the head here and all the way through the blade of the comb is pretty much spot on. It's a very well designed and thought out stock pattern. As I have a look at the other side of the wood here, it's a little bit nicer with this darker stripe running through, but it's not anything to write home about in particular. Moving on to the action. The action is where it gets quite pleasant, and I'll just pop the barrels off quickly. It's done through a DD style pull latch there, and the top lever just pops off thus. The action is case colour hardened, or at least case colour hardened effect. That's not bad at all. It's just that they haven't put the time and effort in with the bone and leather charcoal that they would have back in the day. They've done it with a more modern method that actually leaves a much more pleasing colour pattern on the guns. I think you'll agree there is nothing wrong there. The mixture of purples, blues and browns is extremely pleasing, and it's come with a lovely gloss finish over the top. As I say, it's nothing to squinny about really. There's a very light scroll engraving on the action, and the engraving on it actually is not the nicest thing in the world. However, this gun clearly isn't meant to be a engraved beauty. It's the case colour hardening that you're looking at. The engraving is just almost an afterthought. However, so the pattern is pleasant, it's just not particularly well executed. The Webley Scott is my only real downside. You have Webley Scott gold inlaid down the side here. It looks very nice, but on closer inspection it is just slightly lacking in quality. It is a stamped, it's obviously stamped Webley Scott. This gun was only, what, £1,750 brand new. You're not going to get a hand engraved, hand inlet Webley Scott in gold on the side for that sort of money. Stock is finished with drop points, and the wood to metal finish is pretty good. I must say it's pretty good. The colour hardening runs through the base here, and you get a high gloss electric black trigger, a black trigger guard, top lever and safety catch. All very nice, and again all lightly engraved following the pattern of the gun. It's not bad at all. The gun follows a very simple box lock action, and it is just side plated. It is not a true side lock. The 3000 series was a true side lock. This is just a 2000 series with a side plate on. The triggers are actually pretty good for a single trigger side by side box lock. I think they break at a consistent 5 and then 4 pounds, so it's not too bad at all. We had 5 1/4 and 4 1/4 pounds fairly consistently. The safety catch is smooth, very positive, however. So just be careful with that, I suppose, if you have weaker hands. A lot of this gun provides a kind of a big gun feel for a side-by-side. It is more over and under-esque in its dimensions. It's not particularly refined. That's not a bad thing, I might add, and certainly feels a little bit more familiar to me, as it probably would to you, coming from a side-by-side for your daily use gun. Moving on. It's just over a splinter-sized forend, and the first thing that strikes you is an extremely long forend for a side-by-side. And that is it is quite manageable actually. It's quite manageable, but it is that length. It is pleasant. It's a pleasant length. All I will say is if you are used to putting a handguard over the top of it, definitely you're going to struggle with the size of it. So you're going to have to learn to shoot slightly differently. There's something very reminiscent of a live pigeon gun, and I've shot a few of the Webley and Scott live pigeon guns, as well as a few other English live pigeon guns, and they're very much spec'd like this. Before I put this together, let's look at the barrels. Starting, you have an 8mm to 5mm tapered rib, and it's fitted with this particular one with an orange sight. However, in reality, I believe they came with a little brass bead. That's very nice. It's semi-scalloped and almost flat-filed. Almost flat-filed, and it does catch the light just like a flat-filed rib there. It's quite pleasant. 3-inch chambered, steel-proved, and the bluing on it is fairly fantastic. It's quite deep. However, as you can see, this one is starting to wear ever so slightly. Like all of these Webley barrels, they give off this strange kind of purple luster after they've worn a little bit. Don't ask me why, and don't ask me how, because I'm not particularly in the know about that. You have a jewelled block, and I believe these are chopper lump-esque. There's no obvious monoblock sign, and from what I understand, they are a bit of a different barrel manufacturer. They're quite not unique, but a very good quality. They're not chopper lump. They have chopper-esque lumps, but it's not a monoblock design. Not that that's particularly exciting to any of you, but it is certainly to me. The chokes. The Webley slimline chokes are a real treat actually. It means they don't have to swell the barrels for the chokes, and it kind of gives a very nice finish, if you like. They're not having to put big swollen barrels and big multi-chokes in the end. They are a real nice slimline choke, and they fit a little bit like a Teague with a little pressure fit key. As you can see, they're very, very thin-walled. It's nice. It adds a real good look whilst giving you the option to have a multi-choke. This all leads to, and this locks up just on a double bite through the bottom here, just like a standard box lock side by side. However, the receiver is just that bit deeper than your standard side by side. Makes it feel a bit stronger, but like I say, the whole dimension of the gun does lend itself to that width. Balance wise, is a little bit front heavy, as any modern barrel is going to be of this sort of, here's a cheaper quality gun, and there's no getting away from that, I might add. For all of the awesome stuff you have here, it's value for money, not quality and price, if that makes sense. It is a cheaper gun. If this gun was made to the sort of specification that you'd really want it to be made to, you'd be into the £5,000 or £6,000 mark. So always bear in mind that this is a brilliant piece of value for money. And value for money is good. We like value for money. So you're looking at a balance point of about 3/4 of an inch in front of the hinge pin, or it's got to be 5.5 inches in front of the trigger. So a little bit too far forward in reality. However, you could balance that out quite happily. I will say, however, that would make a hell of a heavy gun. It is not particularly dainty as it is, but that's not a bad thing. Overall, I absolutely love the lines of this gun, and I think you'll agree. For what you can pick up second hand from somewhere between £900 and £1,300, it is a lot of gun for your money. A lot of gun for your money. It's one of those things that we're kind of blessed that nobody really bought these new because they were scared of the name or scared of the price, even though it was only 6 or 7 years ago. You got to think a Beretta at the time wasn't a huge amount more, and the 471 Silverhawk was selling for like £1,300 at the time, so you could pick up one of them for less than you could one of these, and as such a lot of people shied away. However, it makes a fairly strong second-hand market, and they are doing very well. They were a very solidly built gun. That's something I will say for it. For all of the cheaper aspects, they have invested in the right places. It looks good where it needs to look good, and it operates. Operation is key. It's key that it goes bang. I think you'll agree that it is a really good looking gun, and as much as I said that about the engraving, it is really genuinely quite pleasant. It's just nothing special. A lot of the bordering here is really nice, and actually it's the bottom part of the action. The whole gun goes together really well. Whoever thought of this gun did a good job. The only part about it I don't like is the lack of cast they put on. Everything else on it is very, very good. And it swings very nicely. I can't say anything bad about it, to be honest. The only thing I would do on this one is probably change the pad out for something a little bit more fitting to the gun, and maybe put a little bit of weight there just to get the balance back. I love the chokes. I like the finish. The finish is really very good. You're getting a gun that looks $1 million for £1,000. It's not bad, really, is it? Reliability should be fairly good ongoing. However, something we are unknown. But it's been around for 10 years, and I haven't heard anything bad about them. Opening and closing of these guns can be quite stiff, and that's something that you should bear in mind, is that there is a concerted closing effort. Not that it's that bad, and I'm sure we'll loosen up with a bit more use. This one just, although it probably has shot 8,000 cartridges, that's not really a lot. That's not really a lot, given that a box lock design is as strong as it is. I like the tough bottom bite. I like just about everything about it. There's only a few wear marks in here from the shot use that it's had that would dictate not any lack of engineering quality, but maybe a lack of hand facing up. That's about all I have to say about it. I am a big fan. I think it's really nice, and I think you'll agree. It'd be a lovely addition to any cabinet. So, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time.